What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad live choices. Going over to scoresandodds.com where you got picks from me, Meansy, Dino, all the greats. Plus, you get access to our nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what we have projected for each individual prop. Plus, where the best lines are at. Most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is Grant's Action Lounge? It's where I'm throwing in all my bets each and every single day so you can get them in before the lines end up moving. So go. Get signed up. Go to scoresandodds.com/Discord once you have signed up for Scores and Odds or RG, and you can get right into that Discord. And boom, there's all the picks. All the picks I have to do. Absolute boatload. So we're just going to get right into it, starting off with some football. CJ Uzoma under 10.5 receiving yards, -110 over at DK or at Betway. Have the same exact odds. Uzoma not really going to be used a ton in this offense. They have Conklin in there. Mike White just wants to throw the ball to Garrett Wilson. Tough matchup versus the Bills. Easy under. Garrett Wilson over 60.5 receiving yards, -115 over at Caesars. Garrett Wilson has been on an absolute tear recently. He's had 100 plus or 90 plus, can't remember which, in 4 out of the last 5 games. Mike White loves throwing the ball to him, has had a massive amount of targets over the last 5 games. Mike White just threw the ball to him 15 times. 10-point spread in this spot here, making them more likely that they are going to throw the ball a decent amount. I'm rolling with the over. I'm also rolling with the under of Josh Allen. 254.5 passing yards, -115 over at Win. Josh Allen, again, 10-point favorite. And while they do love to pass the ball a ton, the Jets defense is tough, so I'm rolling with the under. Deshaun Watson, under 25.5 rushing yards, -115 at DK, and under 225.5 passing yards, -110 over at DK. The Browns want to run the ball. They want to run the ball a ton. They're going to keep running the ball. They absolutely love running the ball. Watson was not great in his first outing, just 22 pass attempts on 11 completions, I believe. Only had 133 passing yards. This is a tough matchup going up against Cincinnati. Watson probably not going to throw the ball a ton. Like I said, Amari Cooper is now questionable, so I don't know if he's going to end up playing. Rolling with the under on both of them. Jared Goff over 20 or 35 rather. 0.5 passing attempts, -105 over at DK. He's hit this in 8 out of 10 games or 6 out of 8 games. I think it's 6 out of 8 games so far this season playing in a dome. This is an incredible environment. Going up against the Vikings, divisional game, 51.5 point total, 2-point spread. This should be an absolute fantastic game. I have a bunch of overs. I also have Dalvin Cook over 2.5 receptions, -101 over at Caesars. You get this +100 over at DK and I believe FanDuel. Both of them pretty solid odds. Adam Thielen over 4.5 receptions, +130 over at Bet Rivers or over at Barstool. Thielen has had great targets so far this season. While he hasn't hit this over a ton, matchup versus Detroit, while their defense has been better in recent weeks, still not a great defense overall. He should see an increase in volume in this fast-paced matchup going up against bad defense with a 51.5 total. Amon-Ra St. Brown also over 7.5 receptions, +116 over at Superbook, +108 over at Caesars, +110 over at DK. If you're getting at plus odds, that's all that matters. Target volume has been ridiculous over the last 6 weeks, 10 targets on average in a fast-paced matchup with a 51.5 total here. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to get the ball a ton. They're going to pass it to him over and over and over again. Getting this at plus odds is an absolute steal here. Jamal Murray over 46.5 rushing yards, -103 over at FanDuel. Again, going to be a fast-paced game. They're still going to run the ball a decent amount, too. There's going to be a ton of plays in this game. Jamal Murray going up against Minnesota run defense should end up being able to get there. Latavius Murray over 14.5 receiving yards, -110 over at DK. Another spot that's just a little bit too low. Latavius Murray is still the guy in in Denver. He's going to end up getting a decent amount of targets. Last game had 4 targets. Game before that, only 1. But game before that, 4 targets, 3 targets before that. He's getting targeted 3+ times, 3 out of the last 4 games. I think this line's just a bit too low. Same thing with Kendall Hinton. Been getting a decent amount of targets over the last 3 weeks. I haven't projected for 45 receiving yards. Every other site has this at negative odds on the over, but Caesars has it at +112 on the over, making this line just a little bit bad over at Caesars. Travis Kelce going up against the Broncos there, under 6.5 receptions. It was kind of lost in the first half of the last game. Well, he's still going to get a decent amount of workload here. -109 on the under here of 6.5 receptions is a good line going up against the toughest defense in the league in the Broncos and what could end up being a lower scoring game than we're used to for the Chiefs. I'm rolling with the under. That's football. Took me 5 minutes to get through football. And basketball, I've got way more. So we're just going to cruise on through this. Scotty Barnes under 16.5 points, minus 113 over at FanDuel. That line might have moved. I'm going to go ahead and check it out here. Barnes, minus 122. That's kind of a borderline bet. I'd probably stay away. Paolo Banchero, over 19.5 points, minus 110 over at Fox Bet. Fox Bet specifically, I think, has a much worse line on this than pretty much any other book. Minus 120. It's still headed minus 120. We have him projected for 21.25 points. He's been absolutely fantastic this year, been on a roll. I bet this almost every single night, and it hits almost every single night. I had to go to overtime the other night in order to hit, but still ended up hitting. Kyrie Irving over 31.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 117 over at Caesars. Kyrie has been fantastic recently. Hit this in 9 out of the last 11 games, I believe. He might end up hitting this on points alone. I also like Kevin Durant over points, rebounds, assists. I think that's sitting at 39.5. Matchup versus Charlotte. This is going to be a fantastic spot here. I'm liking a lot of overs in this spot. Royce O'Neal also over 4.5 rebounds. I think we currently have him projected at 6 in this spot. O'Neal has been pretty solid on the boards. Yeah, we have him projected at 6. So 25% over expected. Or not match versus the Hornets, match versus Atlanta. Sorry about that. It's been a long day. But we have him projected for 6. Even at minus 125 odds, still hit the over. It's all the way up to minus 138. I'd still have the over there. Joel Embiid over 44.5 points, rebounds, assists. I got this minus 120 over at Betway. It's minus 120 over at DK. It's minus 115 over at Bet365. I had both on Betway and Bet365. Too low of the line here. Going up against the Lakers. Lakers have been well below average at giving up points and rebounds and everything to the centers. Joel Embiid is averaging well over this. I think 34 points per game since the beginning of November. Right around 6 assists, 10 rebounds. So he's been crushing this line on a pretty consistent basis. Just a bad overall line. Anthony Davis, outside of when he has to go leave the game to go poop himself. Over 25 points, hits it 25.5 minus 115 at FanDuel. Hits this at a pretty consistent clip here. Just too low of a line. John Morant under 8.5 assists, minus 110 over at Betway. Too high of a line. I like the J-Val under points, rebounds, assists, minus 105 at 25.5, Betway or DK. Valanciunas under 9.5 rebounds, minus 113 over at Caesars. Valanciunas under 14.5 points, minus 115 over at FanDuel. He's going to struggle going up against Ayton. All these lines are too high. We haven't projected for well under that on every single one of them. DeAndre Ayton over 28.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 117 over at Caesars. Ayton's hit this at a mass clip 9 out of the last 11. I think he's hit the over 2 games, one of which I think he fouled out or got injured or something happened. He only played like 15 minutes, but he's been hitting this at a consistent clip outside of that. Trey Murphy over 2.5 3-pointers made, minus 115 at FanDuel. Don't love that bet. It was popping earlier. I don't know if it's popping too much now. I actually like his under on points. Rudy Gobert under 15.5 points, minus 105 over at Betway. He's been hitting this at a pretty consistent clip on the under, averaging 13.2 points on the season. He is going up against his old team. There is the revenge narrative, but he tends to get over into foul trouble. That's kind of why he's hitting the under a pretty decent clip. 15.5 points. Not really going to see an increase with going up against a team that gives up a ton of points in paint and Jazz, because he's just basically catch and put it back up. So overall, Jazz are not a terrible rebounding team. They got Markkanen, they got Olynyk, they got Vanderbilt in there. So they've got some big guys in there. I like the under. Anthony Edwards under 4.5 assists, minus 125 over at FanDuel, minus 125 over at Betway. Just a bit too high. We have him projected for 3.8, I believe, in this spot here, making it an easy under. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to hammer through these. There's so many. Brook Lopez under 20.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 over at Betway. Anytime I say Betway, they take the same odds as DK, I believe. So you can always get that at DK. So when I say Betway, go DK. DK just won't let me bet. Brook Lopez under 20.5 points, rebounds, assists, too high of a line. Drew Holiday under 29.5 points, rebounds, assists, too high of a line, minus 104 over at FanDuel. I think that line's moved. You can still get it minus 110, which I still like it at. Too high of a line here. Middleton coming back in here. Just bad overall line. Grayson Allen over 3.5 boards, plus 108 over at Caesars. We currently have him projected for, I think, 3.8. So getting this at plus odds on a bet projected to hit over 50% of the time. something I always end up doing. Giannis over 0.5 3-pointers made, minus 115 over at Betway, minus 115 over at DK. I really like this bet here. Giannis, solid shot attempts from beyond the arc, 2+ in like 7 out of the last 8, something like that. Averaging over 3 per game since the beginning of November. While he's not a great 3-point shooter, getting close to even odds on this is pretty much always a good bet. Jalen McDaniels, I have both McDaniels here. We'll get to the other one in a second. Over 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. We currently have him projected for McDaniels. So Jaden McDaniels, we have projected for 2 over his points, rebounds, assists line. I hit that over it. Caesars, Heather McDaniels, we have projected for over 2 over his line. Hit that over at Caesars. You can actually get that at, or I hit that over at Barstool. You can actually get that at minus 102 over at FanDuel right now. Mitch Robb, over 19.5 points, rebounds, assists. I also have him over 8.5 points, minus 115 on points, rebounds, assists is bet 365. Minus 118 over at Fox. These are very specific to those sites. It's much higher up on most other sites. So I like both of them. I have them projected for way over that. Jalen Brunson, over 31.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 120 over at bet 365. We have Brunson projected for, I think this is one. Yeah, we have him projected for a full 1 over that. Solid line over at bet 365. If you have to get over at minus 125 over at MGM, I still like it there. Julius Randle, that's not right. That's not what I bet. I fudged that one up. Is it assists? No, it's not assists. It's RJ Barrett. What is this bet? Sorry, there's so many today. I must have messed up one. Randall, under 2.5 3-pointers made. That was it. 3-pointers made. Yeah, minus 111. Grimes, over 10.5 points, plus 104. Why this is at plus odds, I have no idea. Let's see, Grimes. I have no clue why it's this low. We have him projected for 9.5. Why did we have him projected for so low? He just coming off a 23-point game. The minutes have been fantastic, having 30 plus pretty much in every single game for a while there. Points have been solid, double-digit points, and several. I just don't understand this line at all. Going up against Charlotte, like it's a matchup versus Charlotte. He's going to see an uptick. The minutes are there. He's in the game a lot. RJ Barrett, over 2.5 assists. Again, fast-paced game going up against Charlotte, minus 118 over at FanDuel. Wagner, over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists. Minus 119 over at Caesars. It's a solid line over at Caesars. I spelled that wrong. We have him projected for 24.5, so getting a 23.5 is solid. Not a great matchup, but he's been very heavily involved. Had a massive amount of shots in the last game. Should see a ton of shots here. Also over 2.5 assists. Minus 105 over at Betway. Just awful line. Talked about Durant, over 39.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 over at bet 365. Harden, over 36.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 bet 365. Again, solid overall matchup. We currently have him projected for 35.33. I don't agree with that at all. Lakers, 4th overall in pace. This is going to be a high scoring, close game here. Harden goes over easily. Again, re-hit. Embiid, over 44.5 points, rebounds, assists over at bet 365 at minus 115. His assist numbers, I don't understand why it's at 3.5. He's averaging 6 since the beginning of November. I know that Harden coming back is going to eat into his assists a decent amount. But this is just a bad overall line for a guy that should be dishing out a few dimes. Trey Murphy, under 15.5 points, minus 115 over at bet 365. Just too high of a line. McDaniels, already talked about this. Over 17.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 over at Caesars. Anthony Edwards, over 26.5 points, minus 104 over at FanDuel. Going to be getting a lot in the paint. Going to be doing a ton going up against this Jazz defense. Going to be a high-scoring game. 26.5, too low. Dorian Finney-Smith over 13.5 points, rebounds, assists. Too low of a line here. He'll get a couple boards. He'll get 1 or 2 assists, and he's going to get 10-plus points. Last one. Sorry, it's been a long one. Chris Middleton over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 over at bet 365. I'd project for 26 in this spot here. Easy over. That's it. That's the show. Absolutely hammered through that. Yeah, go check out Scores and Odds. Go get signed up, guys. I don't know how long this show will be free, but you guys are getting a bunch of free picks, but the lines are always going to be better if you're just in the Discord every single day. That's it. I'm out of here. Later, kids.